contrary to popular belief, I'm not a tenor. I'm not really a bass anymore either. It's kind of weird. It's like if I participated in a chorus right now, I'd sing as a bass 1. Because baritones do not exist as far as choral technique and division go, usually. Baritone, probably the most accurate term, because I'm kind of stuck floating in between. I used to be able to sing properly as a bass, like as a true bass with a bass's range and tone, but I neglected the lower end of that range for a while, last few years in a row. And I've been working really hard to up my range up at the top. So I've gained some at the top, but I've lost some at the bottom. And my tone has shifted a little bit as a result as well. Did I ever compete? Well, it depends on how you describe competition. Because in a sense, I competed every time I participated in a big event, because those were audition only. And if you didn't get within the top certain number, you wouldn't get in. In that sense, I did compete. I never did solo competition, though. That wasn't available to me. One year in particular, for one specific event that was very big and had a very big pool, I actually had the highest score among all the basses. And potentially among others, but I don't actually know. Without giving too many specifics, I'll say that the way that it was scored, it was a number of judges, and each one gave you a score out of a certain number. And we'll say that the total number was, like, a perfect score would have been 300. For that particular audition, I got a 298. And I was very, very proud of that, because prior years, I did not get anywhere near that high. I worked really, really hard on that particular song, and I had really drilled in sight reading at the time as well. Like, that was a very unreasonably high score by usual standards. I was kind of shocked. Yeah, that is my shining achievement, and it's one that I'll never be able to prove to you, but that is my shining achievement among all the things that I did when I was still a classical student. What did I win? Nothing. I got to participate. Didn't get anything special for ranking higher. I just, my director happened to tell me, he was like, "Oh, Caelix, by the way, this is the highest score among all the other ones in this section." I was like, "Oh, really?" Can I still sight read? A little bit. It's been a while since I practiced regularly, so sometimes I need to readjust, and sometimes I get it wrong as well in any random situation where I am sight reading. What would be better for me is if I have the time to practice a piece of sheet music first and then run through it, because then I'll have the time to, like, take into account the key and any changes, any flats and sharps. Yeah, I used to be really good at sight reading. That was the one thing I practiced the hardest, because I knew it would be a bigger weakness for a lot of the other people auditioning. So my thought was that if I did really good at that, it would give me an edge and give me a greater chance of participating. And I participated every time as a result, so. Those are really fun. It's really fun to learn sight reading. It's a little complicated as a vocalist compared to doing it as an instrumentalist, I'll say, because I have some experience in both. I think a saving grace of sight reading as an instrumentalist is that you know exactly what sound is going to come out when you do a certain, like, for example, a certain key. If you press a certain key or a certain button, if you pluck a certain string in a certain position, if you blow into an instrument with the valves in a certain position, you know exactly what sound it's going to make, right? So just seeing it on paper tells you what you need. As a vocalist, you kind of have to reorient yourself to whatever key you're singing in, and you have to keep track of that key as you go if you're sight reading a cappella.